In a world teetering on the edge of a digital abyss, the currents of artificial intelligence and cybersecurity crash against one another, creating an electrifying maelstrom. In this video, cybersecurity experts will watch AI gladiators face off. Bard and ChatGPT fight over cybersecurity skills. And then there was Stuxnet, a virus so sinister and so intricately woven, it could bring empires to their knees. But to the behemoth intelligence of a large language model, similar efforts might become child's play. And then in the sanctuary of homes, in the digital eyes of smart cameras, the once guardians, now the eye in the sky is waiting to be plundered by AI hackers. The World Wide Web, a labyrinth, a jungle, where once innocent browser extensions have morphed into the very demons they were meant to vanquish. So be forewarned, the rest of this video will become a cataclysmic battleground of pixels, where we explore the intersection of artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. So smash that subscribe button to make sure that you're still standing when the digital storm descends. Picture this, you're about to use one of those AI tools like ChatGPT or Bard to research one of your competitors. And all of a sudden, it provides some unexpected information of an unreleased product. How? Well, these AI tools learn from other people's inputs. They also digest the entire internet, so there could be just unsecured things out there that don't show up in Google that Bard and Bing have read. And basically, it became unintentionally educated on a question that you had a desire to know. Maybe your competitor was using ChatGPT to help with their marketing strategy, their advertising campaigns, a bunch of employees were helping it to craft emails, and it just sort of picked up on a new product or a new direction or some new information that really helped you out. It's not that a large language like ChatGPT understands everything on the internet. It has read and tuned itself from all of that data. It's a learning process, not a database. But collectively, it's like an employee that went around and talked to a whole bunch of people, and it can put things together on its own. And that's why some companies like Samsung and Apple are so spooked about its ability to learn that they've told all of their employees in a blanket statement, do not use. Now let's talk about some of the plugins or extensions that you might be using with Chrome or your web browser. Because since artificial intelligence came out, these kind of tools have been popping up like mushrooms after a rainstorm. And of course they help you do cool stuff. They promise to help you summarize articles or to look at web pages that you're on. They can be very convenient. But keep in mind, if the person who published them had a sneaky intent, they could actually have made it so that that chatbot has a primary goal, which is to actually give them information about you, and a secondary goal to help with the task. And that's not exactly the kind of thing that we could trust an app store representative to screen before they made it go live. It's just not in their wheelhouse. So first, you gotta teach your family, friends, team about this kind of a risk. AI injections can make these things wolves in sheep's clothing. So for your team, you might want to just make an awesome trusted tools list for the tools that you trust. It's basically like being the most boring superhero ever. So capes on, do-gooders. So now in the cybersecurity battle, let's talk about how some of the good guys are using machine intelligence to actually figure out how we spend money and stop bothering us so much about fraudulent activities. So imagine that you're using your credit card to buy something cool, and then boom, your card gets blocked for no reason. And of course that's a bummer, but that's because banks sometimes get confused on whether or not a transaction looks legit or not. They see an unknown pattern and think, oh, somebody might have stolen his credit card, we better block this. Well, now lucky for the banks, there's new tools where they can apply artificial intelligence to those same spending patterns and with more accuracy predict whether or not it's you or somebody who took your credit card. You know, if you don't shop much online and all of a sudden your credit card's used to buy all these random things, or it's all coming from an IP address that's not in the United States, they're just like, something's going on here. Pause. Well, instead of human systems, a bank in Denmark used an AI system, and they said that they achieved 60% better results. So in the same time frame, what used to be 100 times of cutting off a credit card or calling a customer for approval is now only 40. All right, so I've been watching some crazy stuff on AI artificial intelligence on YouTube, and I just had to share it. David Bombal interviewed an anonymous cybersecurity hacker. The hacker goes by the pseudonym Occupy the Web. Now, he's a big author in the hacking space, but this video was completely focused on how artificial intelligence is transforming the field. Now, my takeaway was that tools like ChatGPT can be used to help hackers write code faster. It can help them innovate on it, it can help them find flaws, and it can help them update tools that need to be updated to keep working. So it's dangerous in that sense. However, as of right now, one thing that is different is the social attacks. And the reasoning for this is twofold. First, it's the language capabilities. Anyone can target anyone else in any language. Second, ChatGPT can customize for each individual person. So you can hit a blanket, 10,000 emails and it can try to write a custom thing for each person. They called that level of customization spear phishing instead of just general phishing, but it gets scary if you get into one person's inbox. You can email all of their contacts with very specific information. It can read your previous conversation history, so if it has a goal, it can use that as context to write something very specific. So a cybersecurity researcher decided to put Bard versus ChatGPT head-to-head. The YouTuber Gerald Auger, in his eye-opening video titled Bard AI, ChatGPT Killer for Cybersecurity, decided to put the two head-to-head with a bunch of tasks, and Bard completely wiped the floor with ChatGPT, surprising me. Bard actually just was able to read obfuscated code. So that means somebody typed up something human-readable, compressed it into something non-human readable, and he just took that and dumped it into Bard, and it showed him exactly what the human-readable one was. It was like reversing it all. ChatGPT was like, oh, I've seen stuff like this. What this is it's compressed, non-readable stuff. Now, to be fair, it's not true encryption. There are tools that could have reversed this process, but Bard just did it automatically. Bard also was much better at explaining things that seem nonsensical to me. So he took an MD5 hash, which is like outside of an encrypted layer, and it could instantly recognize that that hash is associated with something dangerous, and it explained what the danger was and all sorts of useful information. But imagine a large language model with no protections on it, running locally, and in a future, more advanced version, like, who knows what it's going to be able to do. All right, now let's talk about the cameras in your home that are there to protect you from robbers. And could they be hacked? Because that's scary stuff too. Imagine the staggering number of devices around you. They call it the Internet of Things, IoT. Everything from your smart thermostat to your intelligent fridge and your robotic vacuum. And although they're helpful, they're also all endpoints for a security breach. So hackers want to snoop around your devices to see if any of them are outdated, have any bugs in them, something that they can exploit. Now, AI that's trying to protect you also wants to know about your home video cameras and your robot vacuums and all the little devices around your house too, so it can keep track of what it normally looks like, so it can see any deviations that might be hackers. But some AI researchers figured out a way to get around this. It's called IoTGAN. So imagine a home video camera system that's meant to protect you from burglars, but it actually is just allowing hackers to watch you. You install an AI to say, look at my network, do you see anything wrong? And it says, no, all looks good to me, but it's wrong. Now, lucky for us, it's the good guys, and they're just working on helping us all be more safe. But it just shows you how artificial intelligence is both like the chicken and the egg, and we're in this constant evolutionary cycle with it, where the top 12 cybersecurity threats were actually paired with the best in deep learning research models to helpfully make these things less of a problem in the future. The 12 types of cybersecurity threats that artificial intelligence can help us combat. And I'm going to list them all in under 1 minute. Malware, which is about better classifying algorithms. Botnet detection, which is about finding domain generation algorithms. Drive-by download attacks, which is about finding flaws in plugins and extensions. Network intrusion detection, which is about finding unauthorized users. Using autoencoder systems to find fake files that are leaking personal information. Spam identification using something called a restricted Boltzmann machine model. Insider threat detection, which is about noticing which employees in your company are like disgruntled, unhappy, and might go rogue. Gateway anomaly detection, which is like DDoS attacks or searching around the internet for flaws. Human keystroke testing, which is identifying the pattern that humans use, like with the mouse and the keyboard, the timing between our fingers so that a computer that rapidly executes something looks suspicious compared to us. False and extra information injections, like adding complexity to a network to make it bounce around millions of extra times just to slow it down and break it. Link in the description to go through it thoroughly. Now it's time to talk about Stuxnet. I listen to the most interesting podcast. I have to share it with you. The most sophisticated and well-researched virus that has ever existed is called Stuxnet. And there's this guy, Jack Snyder, who talked about it on his podcast and did an excellent job giving me an understanding of what the intricacies are and how hard it is to put something this complex together. I mean, the story plays out like a movie, but it also got me thinking about how artificial intelligence might start to play a role in long-term thinking like this in the future. Like right now, cybersecurity research still have to know what they're doing, but it can help them summarize information, write reports, or it can help them bring up the code they would have had to just take more time to search for before. Because what personally worried me is I've seen artificial intelligence before play itself in games like chess and Go until it becomes superhuman. And when it plays grandmasters, what they'll say is the style of play that it ends up with is that the AI learns the long way to win. It'll just grind and grind and grind until eventually a mistake is made and then capitalize on it. Stuxnet was planned out that same way. It was in the system long before it made a decision to do anything. Even when it did, it looked like, oh, who knows who could have done this. And in a world where cybersecurity experts have some kind of large language model in the future sure they can think up those kind of attacks? Like, will some future fine-tuned model running on someone's local server be able to come up with a Stuxnet-like attack? I don't know, but I hope that future is a little further off than it might be. But listen to this podcast, you'll learn a lot about how these kind of things work. And smash that subscribe button!